From Kevin Garnett being the king of trash talking, to Chris Paul earning a name for himself with his low blows, these are the dirtiest NBA players of all time. Not all these players were like this from the beginning, though. Some, like Kevin Garnett, were actually one of the most likable before. He went from being the nicest guy in the NBA to becoming one of the dirtiest players ever. Back in the early days of his career, Garnett had this magnetic personality and a killer smile, and companies were lining up to have him endorse their stuff. But as time passed, he started unleashing his inner beast. You can blame it on all those seasons of disappointment he had with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Losing game after game took a toll on him and cranked up the aggression in his game. Not only did Kevin become more intense, but he also became a master of trash talking, which he used as a weapon to mess with his opponents' heads. The nice guy turned into a psychological warfare expert on the court. Then came the Boston Celtics, and things took a wild turn. Garnett became their go-to hitman, knocking out opponents with sneaky elbows and unexpected swings. Yeah, he played dirty, no doubt about it, but despite his questionable tactics, his love for the game and insane intensity made him a force to be reckoned with. This guy even bagged the NBA MVP award, as well as the Defensive Player of the Year title in the same season. That's some serious talent, even if he had to bend the rules a bit. And most of these tough guys on defense tend to get a little rough, which might be the reason why they're good at it. Dennis Rodman, aka The Worm, was an absolute beast when it came to defense and grabbing rebounds. He played for quite a few NBA teams, like the Chicago Bulls, Detroit Pistons, Louisiana Lakers, Dallas Mavericks, and the San Antonio Spurs. Now, before he became a power forward, Dennis actually started off as a small forward in his early NBA days. But man, did he reach the peak of his career. He not only made it into the All-NBA defensive team, but also won the NBA Defensive Player of the Year award not once, but twice. As amazing as he was on defense, Dennis sometimes let his emotions take over. When Rodman was playing for the Detroit Pistons, he was part of a crew called the Bad Boys of the NBA. They were known for their tough and aggressive style of play, doing whatever it took to stop their opponents in their tracks. And they weren't afraid to get their hands dirty. Teaming up with guys like Isaiah Thomas, John Sally, and Bill Laimbeer, those Pistons became a force to be reckoned with. They were feared all around the NBA, not just because of their defensive skills, but also because of their infamous dirty plays. They went at it hard and rough, and opponents knew they were in for a tough time when facing them. While he earned his reputation throughout his career, all Ron Artest needed was one or two major incidents of violence, and bam, he became the dirtiest player in the league. Also known as Meta World Peace, this guy is considered one of the dirtiest players in NBA history, stirring up trouble left and right. He was eccentric and never shied away from speaking his mind, even if it meant getting on the nerves of officials and other NBA players. During his time in the association, Artest played for 6 different teams and became known for his lockdown defense. He even made it to the NBA All-Star team and was crowned the best defensive player during the 2004 season. But let's be honest, the incidents that really stand out involve some serious controversy. The one that takes the cake is the infamous malice at the Palace. Artest found himself right in the middle of it, which resulted in disciplinary actions and even legal trouble. And that's not all. Artest had a knack for getting into trouble. He once went full-on Hulk and destroyed a television camera at Madison Square Garden, earning himself a 3-game suspension. Then, in the same year, he got into it with Pat Riley, the coach of the Miami Heat, leading to another suspension, this time for 4 games. Artest had a tendency to get physical and throw punches, especially when he felt others were playing dirty. In 2012, he nearly took James Harden's head off with a brutal hit. Because of that, he got slapped with a hefty 7-day suspension from the NBA. But some of these guys know the consequences and tend to be a little more subtle when it comes to their dirty plays, till one incident cost them. Everyone really started paying attention to Zaza Pachulia when he injured Kawhi Leonard. Even Bruce Bowen spoke up about it, saying Pachulia was playing dirty. But Zaza had been pulling these tricks for a long time. The only reason it got so much attention was because Kawhi's injury went down during the playoffs and got all the spotlight. I gotta hand it to the big man, though. His rough-and-tumble style actually helped the Warriors nab those sweet back-to-back championships in 2017 and 2018. His physicality was a key factor, no doubt about it. Just like Karl Malone was known for using his elbow to jab players during the game. The legendary player rocked the Utah Jazz jersey for 18 years, and man, did he make waves alongside his partner in crime, John Stockton. These two were like an unstoppable duo in the NBA. Now, Karl Malone didn't just earn his stripes by sitting on the sidelines. He snagged the title of Most Valuable Player in the NBA twice. And let's not forget his impressive 14 appearances as an All-Star. But Malone wasn't just known for his scoring and defensive skills. The man had a bit of a wild side, and sometimes found himself in the middle of really controversial plays. Yeah, I'm talking about dirty moves. Now he was built like a tank, a true physical specimen, and he had a secret weapon in his arsenal: his elbow. Yeah, you heard me right. This guy could throw some seriously lethal elbows on the court. I mean, he didn't just accidentally kick Tim Duncan in the face. He also gave some other players a taste of his elbow, like poor Isaiah Thomas. Back in 1991, during a regular NBA season with the Detroit Pistons, Karl Malone let loose one of his infamous elbows and smacked Thomas in the head. Ouch. He ended up with more than 40 stitches from that encounter. Now, Malone claimed it was all unintentional, but not everyone bought that story. Just like they didn't buy that Bruce Bowen was leading defense in multiple teams by playing clean. This guy was seriously good at keeping his opponents in check during those crazy lockdown games. Bruce had this amazing ability to read plays and had a hard-nosed playing style that made him a force to be reckoned with. In his first full year in the league, he played a solid 61 games, averaging 5.6 points and 2.9 assists per game. Not too shabby, right? He was putting in some serious work on the court, getting about 24 minutes of game time each match. But wait, the story doesn't end there. After a year with the Boston Celtics, Bruce mixed things up and hopped over to the Philadelphia 76ers. And just when you thought that was it, he had a brief stint with the Chicago Bulls too. In the 2001 to 2002 seasons, Bowen knew he had hit the jackpot when he landed a contract with the San Antonio Spurs, a championship-caliber team led by the likes of Tim Duncan and David Robinson. With his impressive defensive game, he quickly became a starter for the Spurs. That's how you make a name for yourself, folks. But Bruce wasn't your typical defender. Oh no, he was ready to do whatever it took to stop the opponent from scoring. He even got himself in trouble once for kicking Wally Szczerbiak in the face during a game. That move ended up costing him a $7,500 fine. Well, sometimes you gotta pay the price for your passion, right? But other times the passion isn't for the game, it's just for winning, doing whatever it takes. At least it was that way for Chris Paul. The point guard stands at a towering 6 feet 8 inches and weighs in at a measly 175 pounds. Now, you might not expect someone of his build to be all that intimidating, right? But he's not your typical good kid either, because in his whopping 1,155 games, all of which he started, Paul has mastered the art of using his height and lightning-fast speed to neutralize opponents who are much bigger than him. And get this, he's got a bag of tricks up his sleeve, including sneaky grabs and even some low blows. So, there you have it, folks. From Chris Paul earning a name for himself with his low blows, to Kevin Garnett being the king of trash talking, those were the dirtiest NBA players of all time.